might wonder, what do businesses have to do with biodiversity? Isn't it the responsibility of biologists and ecologists to manage this? Why is biodiversity conservation increasingly heightened in ESG framework as a crucial element for corporate sustainability? The answer lies in the concept of double materiality. Businesses not only contribute to biodiversity loss through their operation, but are also significantly affected by the consequences of that loss. Biodiversity or biological diversity refers to the variety and variability of life on Earth encompassing all living organisms. The variety and variability can be in three forms. First, genetic diversity, the variation of gene within a species. Species diversity, the variety of different species in a particular region or habitat. Third, ecosystem diversity, the range of different ecosystems such as forests, grasslands, wetlands, and oceans. Biodiversity provides essential services to human beings, including oxygen production, water filtration, soil formation, climate regulation, pollination, pest control, and most essentially, food production. Loss of biodiversity refers to the reduction in the variety of life forms. It manifests itself in four forms. First, species extinction, the complete disappearance of species from the planet. Second, population decline, a reduction in the population sizes of species leading to an imbalance in ecosystems. Third, habitat destruction, the degradation or loss of habitats critical for species survival, such as the deforestation or coral reef destruction. Fourth, reduction in ecosystem services. As biodiversity declines, ecosystems become less capable of providing services like clean air, water, and fertile soils for life to survive. Let's first understand as to how businesses are responsible for biodiversity loss. Companies are responsible for deforestation and land use change. Industries like agriculture, logging, and real estate development often clear forests and converts natural habitats into farmland, plantation, or urban areas. This destroys ecosystems and leads to habitat fragmentation, which reduces species diversity. For example, the palm oil industry is a major driver of deforestation in tropical regions like Indonesia and Malaysia. Soybean farming is leading to Amazon rainforest clearance. Infrastructure projects like mining and dams destroy habitats. Overexploitation of natural resources. Companies involved in fishing, mining, or timber extraction often deplete natural resources faster than ecosystems can regenerate, leading to biodiversity decline. Overexploitation reduces populations of key species and alters ecosystem dynamics. For example, overfishing by commercial fisheries has led to the depletion of fish stocks such as Atlantic cod, contributing the collapse of marine ecosystems and threatening all other species that rely on this fish for food. Excessive water extraction by beverage companies harm aquatic habitats. Harvesting timber at the rate that exceeds forest regeneration leads to deforestation and habitat loss. Pollution. Industrial activities, manufacturing processes, and agriculture often produce pollutants such as chemicals, plastic, and waste that degrade ecosystem and harm species. Pollution can contaminate water, soil, and air, reducing biodiversity and damaging habitats. For example, Agriculture runoff containing pesticides and fertilizers causes eutrophication in aquatic ecosystems, leading to dead zones where marine life cannot survive. Greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. As we have seen so far, businesses contribute to climate change through greenhouse emissions from their operations, transportation, and energy usage. Climate change alters ecosystems, changes species migration patterns, and forces species into new areas where they may not be able to survive. Unsustainable supply chains. Companies support biodiversity harming practices through supply chain choices. For example, fast fashion brands source materials from suppliers linked to deforestation and pollution. Electronics companies use minerals sourced from conflict zones and areas with poor environmental regulations like say cobalt from Congo. Food companies source ingredients from suppliers with unsustainable agricultural practices. Now that we have explored how businesses contribute to biodiversity loss, it's important to understand how that loss impacts businesses in return. First impact is the supply chain disruptions. Businesses reliant on natural resources such as agriculture, fishing, and forestry face risk when biodiversity declines. Cocoa production, crucial for chocolate manufacturing, is threatened by deforestation and climate change. The decline in pollinator species like bees affects crop yields and can disrupt food supply chains. A decline in fish stocks due to marine biodiversity loss can disrupt seafood companies. Increased operating costs and risk. Loss of biodiversity can result in diminished ecosystem services like water purification, flood protection, soil fertility, forcing companies to invest in alternatives. For example, a beverage company might need to invest in expensive water treatment technologies if natural wetlands that provide water filtration services are lost due to biodiversity degradation. Or water scarcity is aggravated by biodiversity loss. Decreased productivity. Biodiversity loss can directly impact a company's productivity. For example, deforestation can lead to soil erosion and reduced agriculture yields, while habitat destruction can disrupt ecosystem services that support fisheries and tourism. The decline of pollinators threatens the production of crops like almonds and avocados. Consumers are increasingly aware of the environmental issues, and businesses perceived as contributing to biodiversity loss may face backlash. Fashion brands like H&M and Burberry face backlash over their use of leather sourced from Amazon cattle farms linked to deforestation. This damaged their brand reputation and led to calls for boycotts. This risk is the highest for fashion industry. Regulatory and legal risks. Government and international organizations are introducing stricter regulation to prevent biodiversity loss. Companies that fail to comply with biodiversity related regulations could face fines, legal challenges, or suspension of business operations. For example, a mining company operating in a protected area could face lawsuits or operational shutdowns due to violating environmental regulations aimed at preserving local biodiversity. Let us end this section by reading through some of the facts about biodiversity loss in India. Nearly 90% of India's biodiversity hotspots, including the Western Ghats, Himalayas, and Indo-Burma region, have been severely degraded. Between 2025 and 2020, India lost more than 6 lakh hectares of forest, the second highest rate globally after Brazil. Habitat destructions account for 89% of all threatened birds and 83% of mammals in India. The Western Ghats, known for rare and endemic butterfly species, has 70 out of 370 species at risk of extinction due to the habitat destruction. Renewable energy projects like wind farms are expanding rapidly in India, and they are causing unintended harm to biodiversity. So in this section, we explored the concept of biodiversity loss and examined how businesses contribute to the issue while also being significantly affected by its consequences. By understanding these interconnectedness, we can appreciate the importance of implementing sustainable practices that protect biodiversity, which in turn supports business resilience and long-term success.